Okay, today's blog. I just got back from a run, just did 3 miles, and um, had a few things I thought about I might speak on. You know, being my first marathon and was has been super intimidating for me to start with. I think along the way there was a few things that some people had said to me along the way that kind of stuck in my brain, and or I was able to almost use as mantras through some of my training runs. One of them, a friend of mine in my run club said to me a couple weeks ago. She said, "The taper's the worst part." When she said it, I didn't really think much of it, and then it kind of just kept ringing in my ears, and I realized I didn't know what she really meant by that. Like 2 days later, a video came up in my YouTube feed that said, like, the title was like "Taper Crazies." So I'm guessing you guys probably already know about this. So please comment and kind of fill in the gaps for me, because actually I didn't really spend too much time down that rabbit hole. But I realized there's kind of something to that, and that when you're in your training program, you're running consistently and doing longer runs, and then on your taper, all of a sudden things are changing, right? Because you're not kind of doing the as much running, and you're like, what do I do with this time? I'm supposed to be resting. You don't want to rest. Um, Another thing that somebody said to me at some point, or no, I not said to me, but I think I saw it in a video, like maybe another YouTube video or something, and somebody mentioned during your taper phantom pains. And I have to admit, I actually have kind of realized this in the last couple weeks. A couple different times, I've had some things pop up where, like, oh, my knee's a little sore today, or actually today, I had pain in my ankle. Probably because like I said yesterday, I was jumping around on my toes all weekend at some shows. So wasn't really. It probably was relevant. There was probably something actually going on there, but our brain, at least my brain, always is looking for excuses, right? So it's real easy to be like, oh, I don't want to get hurt, oh, I should be careful. But ultimately, you have to remind yourself that, like, most of these things go away within minutes, right? And today, for instance, my ankle pain, within the mile was gone, even though it felt kind of sharp at first. And the kind of the same thing happened last week with my knee. I kind of had some knee pain, and it was the same thing. It's really like phantom pains, right? It's so if you know more about this, please, like, fill in the gaps for me. Maybe leave me a comment. Tell me your experience. What happened with you? But I think that again, a lot of this stuff is still new to me, so I'm experiencing it for the first time, and yeah. So little 3 mile run today. Felt short. I actually felt strong. Uh, the last thing I say on this blog today, I think, is I felt strong. I'm in my favorite shoes. I have these Saucony Speed 4s, and I have over 200 miles on them. They are definitely my go-to shoe. Like, when I'm picking a shoe and I don't know how I feel, I can't decide how I feel. I don't know if I feel sore, or those are the shoes I go to if I just know I just don't need to think. I don't want to think about it. They handle pretty good distances really well. They're pretty responsive, and as a heel striker, I just feel like the roll on them is perfect. Like, I love the roll off my heel into my toe. I just feel so comfortable. Now, when I took them on my first longer, well, not first, but the longest run I probably have on them, I took them for like a 16-mile run or something like that. And I started feeling at the end of that run, like the balls of my feet, like I could use some more padding under the balls of my feet. Sorry, my heels were fine and stuff, but on the balls of my feet, I could tell I just started feeling like they were getting banged up a little bit on the concrete. I was on a bike path, and um, I I like to geek out on gear, so I was contemplating the idea of getting some race shoes. Kind of fun. Maybe offer, maybe introduce a little technology into my marathon and just have some fun with it. I find that the shoes and the gear is a good distraction from the running, so that's might just be a me thing. But so after researching and researching and researching, I kind of landed on like three shoes that I really thought would work for me, and I ultimately ended up getting a pair. Maybe sometime I'll do a video on what those three shoes were, but I ultimately ended up getting a pair of the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4s. So, thinking that the Speed Roll would be very similar to the Speed 4s. Also, every review that I saw basically were kind of saying like it's a good introductory race shoe for beginners, like that it feels very much like kind of a tempo shoe or a long distance shoe as opposed to like a race shoe with a carbon plate, even though it is carbon plated. So I got a pair. I have like over 50 miles on them now, and I they're a lot different than my Speed 4s. Let me just put it that way. They definitely have less in the heel. Of course, that's weight savings. And they're designed for speed. So, the more I'm kind of on my toes, the better they feel. But a couple things. One, I feel like the roll, even though it's the Saucony Speed Roll technology, I feel like the roll in them is much different than my Speed 4s. Again, being a heel striker. But and part of that I think is because of that firm foam that's in the midsole and the forefoot. But that being said, they definitely feel better after 13 miles. Like there's no the balls of my feet feel great on them, and I am able to go. I don't know if I said this, but I feel slower in them. I actually think they slow me down. And again, because I feel like I'm losing something between my heel and my midfoot, like something about that roll, I feel like I'm kind of losing. But ultimately, when I run downhills, they're like way faster. I'm like twice the speed on downhills that I am in my other shoes. So that's really interesting to me because I just feel like that firm foam, I can land kind of down on my forefoot and just keep rolling, and it's pretty amazing. So I do like them. I think I am going to use them in my marathon. I actually thought I kind of went back and forth about, should I use my Speed 4s just because they're kind of more comfortable. I feel like they're more stable. The back of the heel is probably a little wider, and the one thing about the Pro 4s for me is that side to side, I feel like there's just a little less stability for me, even though I don't really need a stability shoe. I am definitely neutral, but like I'd have a little roll in the heel, especially like if you try to turn a corner in those. I definitely prefer turning a corner in my Speed 4s. My Speed 4s, I can just turn a corner and I don't lose any footing. With the Pro 4s, I feel like I have to try to slow down, bend my knees, adjust for the fact that they're not going to provide any stability around that corner. So they're definitely different shoes. But ultimately, I have had them on over a 20-mile run, and I know that they are comfortable in the forefoot. So I think I am going to go with them, and because I don't really care what my speed is on the marathon. I do have an A goal, a B goal, and a C goal. Maybe I'll go over those at some point. So, anyways, it's Wednesday. Today's carb up day, or start of the carb up. So I'm going to make some spaghetti tonight. I'm pretty excited about that. Last night I had a bowl of rice with some Bombay potatoes, and I did a thing. I don't usually do this, but after dinner I had like basically vegan Eggo waffles, Vans waffles, with some almond butter and a little bit of syrup. And man, was that a treat. Oh man, it was so good. I was like, oh, I can have this. It was great. So shout outs to Vans waffles. And the other thing is I have a friend of mine baked me sourdough. He's been learning how to make sourdough over the last year, and I have a loaf of sourdough that's like fresh baked sourdough from his starter. So I am really excited for Carb Up Week. Let's go.